Hi, my name is Elaine Harrison-Neukirch. I'm Education Director for CSNP, and this is Fun with MITRE Attack Navigator and NIST SP 800-53. Today I'm going to talk about what MITRE Attack Navigator, and NIST SP 800-53 are, and how blue teamers can use these to their advantage to help ensure that they have their security controls in place. So first, let's talk about MITRE Attack. MITRE Attack is a free open source collaboration. There's information collected globally by red and blue teamers around the world, and they submit this to MITRE. MITRE Attack framework is a knowledge base containing adversary groups, their tactics, techniques, and software that they're known to use. And there are 3 matrices that focus on enterprise, mobile device, and industrial control systems. This is the MITRE Attack website, and you can see that they have a lot of information on here. There's the different matrices. You have tactics for each matrix, techniques, mitigations. You can look up different groups, attack groups, software. If you click on software, you can drill down to see what types of tactics are used, techniques are used, what groups utilize this type of software. And then there's also a lot of resources. I suggest if you're not familiar with using MITRE Attack, you start by taking their free training. Another great resource is this blog that my friend Natalie Kino wrote. It's called Simplifying the MITRE Attack Framework. And she discusses the different components of MITRE Attack and how they all work together. She also talks about the fact that the more moves we can predict, the more chances we have to win, which is true. As a blue teamer, the more information you have about adversary groups that might attack your sector, the easier it will be for you to ensure that they can't. Attack Navigator is a GitHub project created by MITRE Attack. It enables users to manipulate MITRE Attack matrices in a visual format. This is customizable, and they do release new versions fairly often. There is a web page that you can utilize. You can also download components from the GitHub project to set this up on your own server if you want. Using the web page, you do have to remember that your settings won't be saved, but there is a way to export your reporting and then import it later on if you want to update it. So the Attack Navigator, this is the web page. You're able to create new layers. You can just start out by creating your own layers if you want, or you can upload an existing layer, which is what I will do today in my demo. You can also layer upon layer, and then you can create a customized navigator if you're so inclined. NIST Special Publication 800-53, Security and Privacy Controls for Information Systems and Organizations. That is a very long title and a mouthful. I dare you to read this 5 times quickly without actually looking at the text. If you can do it without stumbling, I will buy you a cup of coffee. This document is almost 500 pages. It was created as a guide for federal and critical infrastructure information systems. It started out that way, and then it's branched out to be used by many sectors for risk assessments and creating defense in depth. This document describes families of security controls and also the controls, the sub-controls within each family. Like I said, it's a very long document. It's pretty dry, but it has awesome information, and it's really useful for blue teamers who need to conduct risk assessments or just looking for additional information on how they can close their security gaps. In December 2020, the Center for Threat Informed Defense released the first set of mappings between MITRE Attack and NIST SP 800-53. The goal of this project was to make it easier for people to map the threats specific to their organization to NIST controls. This does contribute to more effective security and closing those holes within the security wall. This is a pretty large project, so they don't release updates as often as ATT&CK Navigator does. And I think at this point, they're maybe one version behind. So the attack controls framework mappings README file on the NIST 800 GitHub page contains a lot of information. It contains the control mappings, extended fields, the scoping decisions, control family scoping decisions, and a lot more than that. So my first suggestion is go with the README file. And take it from there. I would just read everything in here to kind of enhance your knowledge about it before you get started. So like I said, read the README file first and drill down into the different folders to become more familiar. You can also download the NIST to MITRE mappings in Excel format from this site. And this is kind of handy. This is a handy resource just as a visual aid or a quick lookup. The spreadsheet contains the NIST control ID, NIST control name, the mapping type, the MITRE attack technique ID, and the MITRE attack technique name. For my demo, I'm going to use use case 4, which is also found within the README. And that states, I want to determine what NIST 800-53 V5 controls can be used to build a strong defense against a given group or software. So the first thing we're going to do is open the NIST 800-53 R5 overview layer. There is a layer for each family and each security control, so you can layer over layer if you want to. But for this demonstration, I'm just going to do the overview layer, and I've already downloaded it. I'm going to upload it to Attack Navigator. And then I'm going to select the adversary group that I want to look at. It does, so when my background is white, the techniques are outlined in black and they're hard to see. In this particular case, my background is dark, so the techniques are outlined in a very light purple, which is still hard to see. So I'm going to change the background color to make the techniques easier to identify. And I'm also going to select layer controls and filter out everything except the Windows OS platform. So I will be selecting the group Chimera. My background color will be purple, and I'm filtering to Windows. So you'll be able to see that the purple techniques, the purple highlighted techniques, are techniques Chimera uses when attacking Windows devices. When you hover over each technique, you will see the MITRE attack technique name and ID. The score is the number of possible NIST mitigation controls that apply, and it also lists the NIST controls that can be used to mitigate this particular technique. So even though this is recorded, and this is my third time doing it, I am really hoping the demo gods let this work this time. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to Attack Navigator. I'm going to open an existing layer, which, like I said, I already downloaded. This is the NIST 800-53 R5 overview layer. It is not, this particular layer is not on the newest version, so I'm just going to click OK. And I do not want to open the workflow to version 11. I'm sticking with 10. And then I think I'm going to have to spend a minute to close out this information. So give me 1 second. This happens when you open a version that's older. And I apologize because recording also causes this to lag. Okay, that was fun. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to selection controls so that I can drill down to Chimera, which is the adversary group I want to look at. You can also drill down using techniques, threat groups, software mitigations, or data sources. So you can see Chimera came up here. Now, if you look over here, you see nothing's really outlined. These are all just dark. When I click select, they get a very light outline. So the next thing I'm going to do is go to my technique controls and select the background. I'm going to make it purple because that's my favorite color and I work for a purple team company. And then I'm going to go to the filters and deselect everything except for Windows. Okay, so now we're looking at the purple highlighted boxes. These techniques are all used by Chimera to attack Windows. And you can see if you hover over it, you can get that additional information. You could then note those NIST controls, excuse me, and look them up. Like I said, you can't save this, but you can download it. So you can download this as a JSON file. So say you ran a scan, you uploaded a report, it shows you all the techniques that were used. You go back, you might, put new security controls in place, run your scan again, download your JSON file. And then you can upload it and layer this over it. I'm not sure exactly how that would work because I haven't done it yet, but in theory, it sounds good, right? So you can download the JSON file just so that you can save this. You're also able to download as a spreadsheet. So you can export this to Excel, which is a good way to show the visualization to managers or people who aren't as technical. Right, and you could, sorry about that. If you click on the little notes here, it will show you what is mitigated, what controls mitigate these techniques. So there's a few options there for you. So why would blue teamers want to use these tools? What's the benefit of using them? So like I said, blue teams can use the information to review NIST controls for each technique identified and then put those in place in their security plan. Different security applications do provide JSON files for reporting. And so those could be uploaded as well and layered with the NIST control mappings. You could utilize scores, these control scores to see. So if you have one that has less NIST controls available, maybe that's going to be a higher priority to close that gap because you're going to have to find alternate ways to secure against those techniques. It does identify gaps, and then you can find tools available for mitigation. And you can tweak your current security controls, maybe your alerting, your detection, your blocking, to ensure that those techniques do not succeed. Sorry, I didn't realize that wasn't in my slideshow. So why would an organization want to use this over free tools? Sorry, I want to use this over paid tools because it's free. These tools are free, they're effective, they're well known, and they're associated with best practice. Technical information can be reported to non-technical people. You have really good visualization. It shows you the gaps in your security controls, and leaders can utilize this information to justify for funding for new controls, new security applications, or projects. I did write a 2-part blog about this, which is what the talk is based on. So if you want something in text to follow, you can find that on CSNP's blog site, which is csnp.org/blog. And you can just do a search for it or search my name and you'll find it. So your next task is to read up on, read all this information that I've given you, look at the web pages, read the information on the GitHubs, and then practice using Attack Navigator and NIST mappings together and see if it's something that you could utilize in your job, or maybe you know, you have coworkers or someone in your network that might benefit from it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Questions or comments, I'm open to anything. You can get me on Twitter or LinkedIn. And I hope that you have a great week. Thank you.